Hey there, folks. Remember Donald Trump? The guy with the tweets and the tariffs? Well, he's back in the news, and this time, his trade policies are shaking things up all the way in Africa. In 2024, Trump slapped tariffs on almost every single African country. Yep, you heard that right. From the deserts of Namibia to the rainforests of Gabon, nobody was spared. His reasoning? The same old song and dance? America first, unfair trade practices, blah blah blah. But let's cut through the noise and see what these tariffs really mean for the people on the ground. These tariffs are no joke, people. They are not just numbers on a piece of paper. They have real-world consequences that affect everyday lives. When we talk about tariffs, we're talking about taxes imposed on imported goods. These taxes can significantly alter the price of products, making them more expensive for consumers and less competitive in the market. We're talking about a baseline of 10% for some countries. That might not sound like much at first glance, but think about it. A 10% increase on every single item imported from these countries. It adds up quickly, affecting everything from the cost of raw materials to the final price tag on consumer goods. But hold on, it gets worse. For some countries, the tariffs are even higher. Imagine trying to run a business when the cost of your imported goods suddenly spikes. It's a nightmare scenario for many companies, especially those that rely heavily on international trade. For others, it's a whopping 50%. Yes, you heard that right, 50%. That's like doubling the cost of your imports overnight. This kind of increase can cripple businesses, forcing them to either raise prices or cut costs, often leading to layoffs and reduced quality of goods. That's like adding an extra zero to your grocery bill. Imagine going to the store and finding that your usual $100 grocery run now costs $150. It's a significant hit to the wallet, and it's something that many families simply can't afford. And what goods are we talking about? The list is extensive. It includes everyday items that people rely on, from clothes and shoes to essential agricultural products. These are not luxury items. They are necessities that people need to live their daily lives. Everything from clothes and shoes to agricultural products. These tariffs affect a wide range of goods, making it harder for consumers to afford the basics and for businesses to stay competitive. Basically, if it's made in Africa, there's a good chance it's got a Trump tariff slapped on it. These tariffs are not just numbers, they are barriers that make it harder for African businesses to sell their products in the American market. Now I know what you're thinking. Trevor, this is complicated stuff. And you're right, it is. Trade policies and tariffs are complex, but their impact is straightforward. They make goods more expensive and less accessible. Give us the bottom line. The bottom line is that these tariffs are hurting both consumers and businesses. They create a ripple effect that starts with higher prices and ends with economic downturns. Okay, here it is. These tariffs make African goods more expensive in America, which means fewer people are buying them. When consumers see higher prices, they often look for cheaper alternatives, which can be devastating for businesses relying on exports, which means fewer people are buying them. This decline in sales can lead to a vicious cycle of reduced revenue, layoffs, and even business closures. And that, my friends, is bad news for African businesses and economies. When businesses struggle, economies suffer, jobs are lost, and communities feel the impact. These tariffs are more than just economic policies, they are real issues affecting real people. Let's zoom in on Lesotho, a small mountainous country surrounded by South Africa. Lesotho got hit with a 50% tariff, the highest imposed on any nation. Ouch! That's gotta hurt. You see, Lesotho's economy relies heavily on its textile industry, which exports a lot of clothes to the US. But with these tariffs, their clothes are suddenly way more expensive, making it tough to compete with other countries. It's a real blow to their economy, and the thousands of people who depend on the textile industry for their livelihoods. Now let's talk about South Africa, the economic powerhouse of the continent. Known for its vibrant cities like Johannesburg and Cape Town, South Africa is a country rich in resources and cultural diversity. Its bustling markets and dynamic urban landscapes are a testament to its economic vitality. Recently, South Africa got hit with a 30% tariff on its exports to the United States. Now, this might not sound as severe as Lesotho's 50% tariff, but trust me, it's still a significant blow. For a country that relies heavily on its export economy, this tariff is a major setback. South Africa exports a lot of agricultural products to the US, things like citrus fruits, which are a major part of their export portfolio. The citrus industry alone employs thousands of workers and contributes significantly to the country's GDP. In addition to citrus fruits, South Africa is also known for its high-quality wine and nuts. These products have found a substantial market in the US, and the new tariffs are making it much harder for South African producers to compete. But with these tariffs, those exports are taking a hit. Empty shipping containers and deserted export ports are becoming a common sight. Farmers are left staring at their damaged crops, wondering how they will make ends meet. We're talking about thousands of jobs at risk and a whole lot of uncertainty for South African businesses. The ripple effect of these tariffs is being felt across the country. From the agricultural fields to the urban centers, workers are protesting, factories are slowing down, and small businesses are closing their doors. And it's not just the economy, folks. The social fabric of South Africa is being tested. Citizens are growing increasingly concerned about their future, and the media is filled with discussions about the economic impact and potential solutions. These tariffs are also putting a strain on the relationship between the US and South Africa. Diplomatic ties that have been nurtured over the years are now under pressure. Meetings between officials are becoming more tense, and the once strong partnership is showing signs of strain. It's like throwing a spanner in the works of a partnership that has been built over many years. The gears of cooperation are grinding to a halt, and the bridge of mutual understanding is showing cracks. The future of this relationship is uncertain, and both nations will need to work hard to navigate these troubled waters. Section 5. AGOA, a Lifeline Adrift. Now all this tariff talk brings us to AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act. This act was designed to foster economic growth and development in sub-Saharan Africa by providing these countries with duty-free access to the US market for thousands of products. Don't worry, I won't bore you with the technicalities. But it's important to understand that AGOA was more than just a trade agreement. It was a lifeline for many African economies. Basically, AGOA was like a helping hand from the US to African countries, giving them duty-free access to the US market for certain goods. This meant that African farmers, artisans and manufacturers could sell their products in the US without having to pay hefty tariffs, making their goods more competitive. It was a win-win situation. African countries got to boost their economies by exporting more goods, and American consumers got to enjoy a diverse range of high-quality African products. From vibrant textiles to unique crafts, AGOA brought a piece of Africa into American homes. African countries got to sell more stuff to the US, and Americans got to enjoy some great African products. But guess what? The recent imposition of new tariffs has complicated things significantly. These new tariffs have thrown a wrench into AGOA, making it much harder for African countries to benefit from it. The increased costs are discouraging trade and creating uncertainty for African exporters who once relied on AGOA to reach the US market. It's like giving someone a ladder and then kicking it out from under them. Not cool, man. The future of AGOA now hangs in the balance, and the livelihoods of countless African traders and producers are at stake. The question remains, will the lifeline be restored, or will it drift further out of reach? Section 6. The ripple effect, more than just numbers. Okay, so we've talked about the direct impact of these tariffs on African economies. But here's the thing, folks. The damage goes beyond just dollars and cents. These tariffs are also fueling inflation in Africa. That means the cost of everyday goods is going up, making it harder for people to make ends meet. It's like a hidden tax that hits ordinary people the hardest. And then there's the issue of import dependence. Many African countries rely heavily on imports, and these tariffs are making those imports more expensive too. It's a double whammy for consumers who are already feeling the pinch. Section 7. Africa fights back unity in the face of adversity. Now don't think for a second that Africa is just sitting back and taking this lying down. The African Union, or AU, is stepping up to the plate, and they're not mincing their words. They're calling out these tariffs for what they are: unfair and harmful to African economies. And they're not stopping there. The AU is also urging African countries to diversify their trade partners. That means looking beyond traditional partners like the US, and exploring new opportunities with countries like China, India, and Brazil. It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Section 8. Beyond tariffs. A new dawn for African trade? Now this whole tariff mess might seem like a major setback for Africa, and don't get me wrong, it is. But you know what? It's also an opportunity. This situation has shown African countries the importance of sticking together and looking out for each other. It's about building stronger trade relationships within the continent and reducing their reliance on external partners. Think of it like this. Africa has a lot to offer the world, and they're starting to realize that they don't need to rely on anyone else to succeed. Section 9, a time for solidarity and strategic shift. So there you have it, folks. The Trump tariffs have thrown a wrench into the works, but they've also sparked a fire under Africa's ambition. It's a time for solidarity, strategic thinking, and a whole lot of hustle. And who knows, this might just be the push Africa needs to unleash its full economic potential. Because as they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And trust me, Africa is tougher than ever.